What's going on, guys? This is gonna be the first official video for the E36 318 project. Doing a head gasket on it, so I'm gonna do it. I already got some stuff taken out. Took off the battery. I actually took half the motor apart already before I decided to put it all back together to do a video on it. Got a bunch of bolts over there. Everything is on it, just not fully. I always like to mark bolts on what they go for. So, you know, it's lower intake, little bolts, you actually know what it's going to. So you just don't have a whole bunch of random bolts you don't have no idea where they go to, and then you're like, crap, you screwed up. So this is 1.9 liter inline 4, the BMW M44 engine. It's a basic 4-cylinder. I didn't take kind of put the ignition coil back on, but all it is, these just run from the bottom, back of the motor, up top on here. The ignition coil sits here. There's some clips for this piece right here to stick back to the motor. This video is probably going to be a lot of editing because this is literally the first video I've ever made. So a lot of editing, a lot of cutting, so bear with it. I guess be nice in the comments, or don't. I really don't care. Like I said, 8 years in the Marine Corps, there's nothing you can say that I haven't heard. So, make something funny. Surprise me. First part on tearing down the M44. So here is your pretty much air intake. No, BMW actually calls it something stupid long in German, probably. Obviously, there's no bolts in here because, like I said, I already took half the motor apart before I decided to put it back together and do a video on it. This is just a cover. There'll be 2 bolts. You got 3 parts to this. You got the top part there. Then you got this hose that goes directly in your air box from here. So just really pull that out. Finale under the sensor. All this does is push air directly into the air box, and this piece comes. I might need 2 hands for this one. Definitely probably need either 2 hands or actually have the air box bolted down, like I said I did not have. Here's the bottom part. This is definitely seen better days, but this part just pops on here for the air box. For the air box, these 2 mount right here. Then you also got your throttle sensor, linkage. Got a lot of sensors here. So these, there's just a little clip right here. Pop that out with the pick. So right here, you can either use a pick or a screwdriver. Just pop it out. So this routes over the radiator and into the little wiring harness that goes on top. So then you got more stuff here. There's another cable that I just didn't have. Like I said, I took half this part, put it back together. So you got a cable here, just twist it off, kind of like these. Just twist it off, pop open. Not that hard. Then loosen some clamps. These are like a 10 mil. Most of the stuff is 10 mil. Then you got another hose coming here to your air pump. Pop that out. Then
there you go. You got your air box off. Make sure you don't pinch anything. Then this does wrap under the radiator hose, so you gotta finagle it out.
these, I'm pretty good at not breaking, but if I did, I had a E46, which I did a lot of work on a couple years ago, and I broke one of these plastic hoses. I didn't have it, so I had the next best thing. Use heat shrink. Guess what? It worked. Is that the correct fix? Absolutely not. Is it funny? And does it work? Absolutely. So here's all your wires. So let's take that off. Put some more of this stuff. Then your upper intake, you got a couple bolts holding it in. Got one here. You got these two and these two, so probably like, yeah, 5 bolts total. Yeah, these are way easier with 2 hands. There we go. So honestly, a lot of the stuff I just put it over, pushed it over. So this, pop this part out. And with the air pump, let's see, this air pump, you got 2 bolts down here, and then you got this pipe that connects right to where your exhaust manifold is. You got 2 bolts down here. There are 10. Just really take those off. I put some bolts back on. So let me get the bag, take those bolts off, and then yeah, I'll take it off. So took that off. All it is, so you got 2 like T25 Torx bolts here. Yes, you can just pinch this and take it off, but I really don't want to risk breaking this, because then I have to wait longer to get more parts, because I didn't order this. Because this one's still, it's still pretty good. So you got 2 bolts here, and 2 10 mils down here. Then for this, yeah, 2 10 mils down here. Again, that just bolts up right on your exhaust manifold, and then you got 2 more 10 mil bolts that hold the bracket up to the block itself. So again, I was like labeling everything. So this is for your air pump, your secondary air pump, which is what that whole system is. Next, for some more room, take the fan off for at least for the 318 compacts. It does have a electric fan. So you got 3 wires down here. Let's see if you can get a closer look. Yeah, got 3 wires here into your connector here. Just match up the actual wire colors, and that's it. And then you're supposed to have 2 bolts here, but this car is missing some bolts. And then just pull it up. Obviously, I already have the belts off and the pulley for the water pump. I already replaced this, thinking it was an issue for overheating issue. It wasn't. For the belts, you got your AC belt right here. Then for your accessory belt, this one is stripped out. I have a replacement one, so I gotta fiddle with this to take that one out. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, take the belts off. Your fan off. It's easier if you just move where the power steering reservoir is. Make sure those dowels don't move. Then next up is the air pump. Air pump, you got just really 2 mounting bolts. Then pretty much that's it. Then you gotta deal with the rest of these connectors. So you take this one off, and that one off, and then took the air pump out. Again, you got 2 mounting bolts. Then you got this little, that's fine. Little connector. Just push these 2 little push pins in, pop it out. There it goes on the bottom. Then I can really move this out of the way, almost. Yeah, almost. Again, more clips, more wires. BMW actually did a good job that only these sensors and wires will go here, so they're just long enough to barely make it, so you really can't mess them up. There you go. Take those 2 out. See if I can do it with one hand. Nope. Really can't do it with one hand. So, alright, yeah, need 2 hands for that one. You do have a little vacuum line here. I had it off, but it's red, it's tiny, and it only fits right there. So, just what I also like to do if I'm tearing down a car that I don't really know, I take a lot of pictures. what I take off before I do. So I already did that first time I took it all off. So that's another good help that I'd recommend you do, or don't. Your car, not mine. So up to you. So I got all that off. Really just put it off to the side. Then you got your PCV system here. So you got one hose here and then another one that branches off down below there. Then you got your fuel rail and your lower intake manifold. So gotta take those off. Valve cover off. Also, it's recommended, well, because I also have to do a starter on here, which one of those bolts is stripped. That's the worst one we get to, so I'm gonna be fighting that one for a while. But do the starter, you do gotta take the alternator off. Alternator, easy, you got two big bolts, and then you always use a pry bar to move because this one was pretty stuck. So, uh-oh. Yep. Got a crack there, so that's not fun. More heat shrink. It's worked for me in the past. So, yeah. What I really like are these little hose pliers for Pittsburgh. So I got these at Harbor Freight. You don't need to go to Matco or Snap-on or Strap-on, whatever you want to call it if you don't like it. Yeah, really easy. Also awesome to get in hard to reach places like that back one. That's nice. This thing you really can't take off because it's just the wiring harness. Because that just branches off all over the place, so you really can't move that. What you can also do, I zip tie it up out of the way, get one more room. So I'm actually gonna do that, and I'll be right back. All right, I got that zip tied up. So now it is time to get this hose back here. See if I can't just pull it. Oh, I can't pull it. Yeah, there is a hose clamp on there. You do got to get it from that side with the long screwdriver down there. So here, yeah, honestly, just pop this open. Pop this up. Let's see. Yeah, pop this up. Your PVC. So now, fuel rail. So we got two bolts here. Then you got all of these. These don't have the clips because, like I said, I already took those off the first round. Just pop these off. Crack these lines. Pop them out. You will spill some fuel, so I recommend putting a rag down there. And once you're done, wiggle it. The injector's out, and this is what they are. Actually, not too bad. Could be worse. Those with the pile of stuff. And now it is time for your lower intake. Two bolts down here because there's a little, upside down V bracket that holds it in. Then you got 5 bolts here, or 5 nuts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One in the back. You can see them right there. Then this is your kind of part of your engine harness. So you see how some of it goes down. So some of it does go down, attached to the starter and the alternator. I already took those off, then splits up, comes out to your fuel injectors, your sensors, your air box, pretty much everything else. And this sensor right here, which this is a little like T15 or something. For stuff like this, give me a second. Give me a second. There we go. Stuff like this, if it's a one-off, I usually just put the bolt back in so I know where it goes. And because I'm swapping the head, if I forget it, I'll know. Pops down here, and it goes to this one. This connector right here. Because the intake's a little weird because you got these two lines that you gotta maneuver around. And this harness is all, it was a little bit pain in the ass. So I'm gonna try and show it to you guys. So I'm gonna try to set up the camera so you actually see how I did it. I'll try my best to show you guys. I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh yeah, just take this off, and then, you know, 2 seconds later, you're like, oh yeah, it was a pain in the ass to get off, but you just got to figure it out. I want to actually try to show you guys. So I'll see what I can do. Right. Hopefully you guys could see most of it. It was a little pain in the ass getting it off these studs through the line, and then here's this harness that goes to the bottom. It's got a temperature sensor. This goes to the alternator back there. There's a light. Yeah, goes down right there, and also goes to your starter right here, and a couple other sensors. One does on the back side of your lower intake right there. So, and, just take a note of what you took off where. Most people don't do this, but you can. Get some like paint pens or any color you want. Mark them. I did on some. I did on here. Here. Yep. And there. Just so I remember what goes where, because it's easy to forget with all this fucking crap BMW decided to shoehorn in this place. Here's your other sensor that goes to on the back of this. Right there. Now where this goes to, I got no idea. I do not claim I know everything, because I absolutely do not know everything. I just know more than the average guy. I've done a lot more stuff than the average guy. But I don't know everything, so figuring this out together. Woo! Alright. Then, next thing, take off your valve cover. So, move all this for now. Out of the way. These ignition coils just pop out. Take the spark plugs out. I already did that. And I just really moved it all out of the way. I did, the battery goes there, so I took the battery in the battery box to get a little more room. These are just 10s. So take that off, pull them off, they're 10s. So which ones I tightened. So we're gonna go do that. So yeah, I gotta take these off. I'm gonna go ahead and actually I was taking this out too. So here's your thermostat. Coolant is already drained, so let me just once these on. I always move the clamps so I don't lose it. There we go. It's a hose. Not gonna break that easy, so you can move it. Let's see these. Yeah, got some 10 mils here. This is your timing cover. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot more 10 mils. They're honestly all the same. For this, the water pump, except this. Let's see if I can. Except this bolt right here. It's a torque. Not a torque. It's a hex. Yeah, it's a pretty big bolt. It's the only one that's really different. So, I'll make this easy. Done.
I want that gun. This is awesome. One of the coolest, most useful things I've ever bought. Let's make sure these are all off. These are off. It's not. I don't know. Nope, wrong. There it is. Yeah, get on there. Get on there.
Okay, so I can do this one-handed. This one wasn't off either. Yep, and of course it's off. Yeah, that one too. Yeah, one-handed. All right, here is. So these are zip tied previously, just so they don't come off. For anything timing related, what you want to do, you always want to make sure cylinder 1 is at top dead center. Right there, you're at top dead center. That one, you're not, no. And then because it's a 4-cylinder, cylinders 1 and 4 go together. So that one's also at top dead center too. And yeah, I just gotta take these off, that off, and go find that bolt I dropped, but I'll do that later. So there's that. See if I can get it before it pops. Yeah, there we go. There you go, our thermostat. A little crusting some areas. I'm gonna clean everything up before I actually put it all back together. So I'll put those bolts in the correct bag. Aha, here we go. Thermo for thermostat. And back they go, box of stuff. Alright, now that's off. That's out of the way. I'm gonna put a couple bolts back on here. Gotta do this before the camera battery dies. Ah, dang it. So, I gotta trap you guys real quick. Take this off. Alright, got the top timing cover off. So, here you go. As you can see, this motor is a little nasty. It is 26 years old, from 1998. And it's an old BMW. So, ain't gonna be clean. So these, you got 4 bolts that attach the gears to the camshafts. On the right one, you have a little cover that I took off, but right here you can see a mark. You can see that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it just shows you that you're at top dead center or not. So then you just kind of slide off. Let's see if I can do it handed. Yeah, there we go. So then, once you're here, pretty much set. For these gaskets, you just want to be careful not to actually pinch them or bend them too much. They're metal. You do have to take the water pump off and the bottom timing cover, but to do that, you gotta take off your crankshaft pulley, which I'm not gonna do, so I'm just taking the head off. So then you got about 20 or so bolts that go under here. For heads, especially for head bolts, when you're taking them off, you want to go out and in. When you're putting them on, you want to put them in to out. Don't ask me why, it's just manufacturer specifications. Always look at that before you do anything like this. So, other than that, still got to take the exhaust manifold off, which this one is rusty. So, I took most of them off last time. I got about 2 bolts left, and then the bolts at the bottom for the collector. So, those are going to be fun. The rusted bolts are not the best. So, I'm going to get under the car, spray with the PB blaster a little bit, and continue filming. Well, fucked up a little bit. I set up the camera and realized it wasn't recording because the battery died. And after I already took off the head. So, that's great. But I can show you how I did it. So, here's the old head. My brother's truck he's having me work on also. That's fun. So, here, let's see what we get. Right, those holes right there, those are your head bolts. That's what actually holds the head onto the motor. And here's your head gasket, and as you can see, there's some coolant in the cylinders and overflowing. So, yeah, this definitely needs to get replaced. But, so here is, great. And the flashlight died. There's my other one. There we go. Everything's dying on me today. This one's going out too. Here's your header or your exhaust manifold. Got some bolts there. Also studs, but since the bolts were so rusted on for me, the studs came off with them. So, I'm not angry. I'm actually happy because nothing broke. Other than the ones on the, those are so rusted on there I couldn't even get them off. So, I had to do this the hard way. Meaning, leaving the exhaust on. But, managed to do it. So, there's your gasket for timing and everything. So now, it's time to put it all back together. And hopefully, it runs.